Hey kiddos, time for our next chapter in our read aloud. We are on chapter 5. Chapter 5, The Castle, which was really called The Town. The ride only lasted a few seconds, 7 seconds to be exact. But that's really not important to the story. Here we are, Red said, skidding to a halt. The stop was so sudden that Evan went flying clear over the handlebars. He landed in a haystack 10 feet away. When he came out a moment later, there was a straw stuck in his hair and a needle stuck in his bottom side. Ouch! Evan cried, pulling out the needle. Hey, you found it! Red cried out. Good job. Huh? Found what? Never mind, Red said, then shook his front tire just like you shake your head. We're here. I guess we should probably knock. Well, you should knock since you're the only one who can make a fist. Evan and Red were now standing in front of a massive wooden door that was attached to an enormous stone wall. The wall was about 20 feet high and went on forever in either direction. Evan looked to the left and to the right. There was no one else around and no sound coming from inside. Is there anyone inside this dumb place? Evan asked, pretending like he was thoroughly bored, but kind of curious to find out what was behind that giant door. Only one way to find out, Red said, looking excited and perhaps a bit hyper. Evan knocked. The giant door swung open. Inside was not the scene Evan expected to see. It was an entire town filled with all kinds of strange creatures. They were running all over the place, screaming and yelling and shouting not so nice comments at each other. The town was busy and bustling and full of noise, but outside the giant door it was completely silent. However, the moment they set foot inside the place, things got loud. Loud. Sound must not travel outside the city walls, Red suggested. Neato. Yeah, neato, Evan said, cautiously stepping inside. Ridiculous is more like it. The two of them ventured in further. As soon as they were inside, the giant door slammed shut behind them. Now they had no choice but to enter the town, which, by the way, really was named the town, according to the sign which read like this: The Town. Welcome travelers from other worlds and elsewhere. There were 4 main streets, each one intersected at a place called X. The streets were named Saw Road, So Boulevard, Hytron Avenue, and Tawas Street. What kind of dumb street names are those? Evan asked, irritated by the dumbness of it all. Out of nowhere, a tall, skinny, feathered creature ran past Evan and Red, shouting, "Hurry up and clean!" The silly creature had to swerve to avoid crashing into a group of other silly creatures, only to end up crashing into a street light that was implicitly on during broad daylight. "It's cleaning day! It's cleaning day!" shouted another bizarre creature, this one short and pudgy. "I know it's cleaning day, nincompoop! Clean, sweep, dust, mop, scrub!" All kinds of creatures, big, small, furry, hairless, 4-legged, 6-legged, 8-legged, 100-legged, were in a complete panic. They were all shouting about something called cleaning day. Red was wide-eyed and excited, turning his bike head this way and that, trying to take it all in. Evan, on the other hand, shook his head at the silliness of it all. "What should we do now?" Red asked. "Hey, this is your world, not mine," Evan said. "You tell me." "Don't look at me," Red said. "Up until a few minutes ago, I didn't even exist. I was just a figment in that weird storyteller guy's imagination. Why don't you have a look around? We could take a walk down Saw Road or perhaps Tawas Street." "You mean East Road and South Street? Evan had already turned his head upside down to look at the signs. Once you did this, the signs read properly. At least properly for where Evan came from. Hey, you're right, Red said, turning himself topsy-turvy. I'll have to make a note of that just as soon as I get a notepad and a pen and some hands. Evan and Red decided to explore the town, so off they went. Chapter 6. All sorts of strange creatures. The streets of the town were lined with all sorts of shops. Mr. B's boutique, Aunt Smuck's sweet shop, Barticle Me's Shoporama, and Prissy Hair Salon, just to name a few. There was also Uncle Weaver's Taxidermy, Beverly's Fashion Passion, and Pilberger's Apothecary. There were too many shops to name and too many busy shop owner creatures to describe. None of them looked even remotely human, but as weird as all creatures seemed to him, Evan figured that he must look equally weird to them. Clean up! All the creatures kept shouting, hurry up! Before Queen Mother gets back. At the end of South Street was a steep, grassy hill. Green grass this time, not pink, actually. There was a green, grassy hill at the end of each street, road, avenue, or boulevard. But only on the green, grassy hill at the top of South Street was anything actually happening, other than cleaning, that is. Evan and Red stopped here. There was a big commotion going on at the top of this particular hill. A small furry creature with great long ears stood at the very top. It kind of looked like a rabbit, except that this rabbit seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. 10 other creatures, these ones tall and skinny and pear-shaped, were at the bottom of the hill. They stood perfectly still, formed into a kind of triangular formation. Knock 'em down, down, knock 'em down. The shimmering rabbit shouted from the top of the hill. Knock him down, knock him down, shouted the tall, skinny, pear-shaped creatures at the bottom of the hill. Suddenly, the rabbit at the top of the hill began to run really fast. The fuzzy fur ball began to stumble, then tumble, then roll down the hill. But instead of tumbling down the hill completely out of control, the creature rolled nice and smooth, kind of like a bowling ball. The little creature spun faster and faster. Evan realized the little fur ball was going to plow right into the poor creature standing at the bottom of the hill. Knock him down! Knock him down! Knock him! Crash! The shimmering rabbit plowed right into the other creatures with a loud crash. See sound effect above. The other creatures were launched into the air, scattering all over the place, but not all of them knocked down. 2 still remained. The bowling ball rabbit shook itself off. Then he marched straight over to Evan and looked up at him furiously. What are you supposed to be? The furry creature asked in a snippety tone. Evan couldn't believe it when the creature's entire head disappeared, only to reappear a few seconds later. What am I? Evan said, wondering what manner of creature this was. What are you? He wasn't sure whether he was more shocked by the creature's rudeness or that different parts of its body kept disappearing at different times. What he had mistaken for shimmering in the sunlight was actually disappearing body parts. I happen to be a person, Evan told him. He was getting slightly annoyed by this pushy critter. Actually, I'm a boy. A buoy? The rabbit said with his mouth that was there, and then wasn't there, and then was there once again. You mean like a flotation device used in the ocean perhaps, or a pool? What a silly thing to be. No, 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 Evan said, getting furious with the rude little rabbit. I'm not a flotation device, you little furball. I'm a boy, like a boy. Sorry, never heard of it, the rabbit said. I, on the other paw, am a snippet. What? No, not a what. The whats are over there, the snippet said, pointing down Boulevard to where a group of elderly creatures were standing around, holding their hands up to their ears, shouting, "What? And what did you say? And what was that?" And now the snippet turned to look at the two tall, skinny, pear-shaped creatures that were still standing perfectly still. What would you do in this predicament, Bowie? It's the dreaded 7-10 split, you know? Bedpost, fence post, donkey ears. Is that a bowling question? Evan asked, scrunching his eyebrows. I can't stand bowling. The ball is too heavy, the floor is too slippery, and the shoes look funny and smelly. Well, I will have you know, Bowie, the snippet said, that knock 'em down, or bowling as you call it, happens to be the best game in the world. So there. Turning back to his predicament, the snippet put a paw to his chin, which both disappeared. First the paw, then the chin, then he began to mumble to himself about how to best knock over the remaining 2 pins. Excuse me, Mr. Snippet, Evan said, feeling quite ignored at the moment. Could you please tell me who's in charge of this ridiculous place? All these ridiculous stories have a king, don't they? Yes, snipped the snippet. He's over on the other hill. The other hill? Evan asked, pointing at the hill down at the end of Saw Road. No. That's the other hill. The king is always on top of the other hill over there, Bowie. The snippet pointed to a completely different hill, which looked exactly like all the others. The other hill? Evan asked. All these ridiculous names were confusing him. Yes, jeez. For a flotation device, you sure do ask a lot of questions, the snippet said in his snippety tone. Right over there. Aha. The other hill, Evan said super sarcastically. Makes perfect sense to me. What are you, some kind of sarcastic echo or something? The snippet snapped. Yes, the other hill, right over there. Mr. Snooty Pants, now get going, will ya? I'm busy here. Evan looked towards the hill, then the other hill, finally the other hill. Perched on top of the other hill was a short, round, smiley-faced man who looked relatively human. The man held a wand in his hand and was waving it around frantically. This short, stubby person seemed to be conducting the entire town. Evan watched for a moment, realizing that this was exactly what was happening. Well, Bowie, the snippet said, are you going to stand here all day, or are you going to talk to the king? I've got a bowling dilemma to deal with here. And with that, the snippety comment, the snippet turned into a half-invisible fur ball, half-invisible fur ball, and rolled back up the hill to take his second shot. Evan looked to Red for helpful suggestions. Bring! Hey, don't look at me. This isn't my story, said Red, ringing his bell and giving Evan some kind of weird bicycle shrug. Hop on. And off they went. Okay, kiddos, and that's the 2 chapters for today. I hope you guys are doing well. Miss you.